So we now live in a timeline where wealthy people are flexing on each other with how expensive their gym passes are. That's right, today we are talking about luxury gym memberships. We made a whole video about Erewhon, which is the world's most expensive grocery store, a so-called luxury grocery store chain. They sell stuff like $19 strawberries and $25 celebrity smoothies. And today we are talking about the parallel dystopia that is luxury gyms. So EQUINOX is the brand that supposedly invented luxury fitness, and they have recently pushed this trend to its most logical extreme with the launch of their optimized membership. This costs $40,000 a year, and if you're thinking that this is the right path for you, you're gonna have to wait because there's 1,000 people ahead of you on the wait list. But let me just put this in context for you, because the average EQUINOX membership in a city like New York City ranges from $200 to $400 a month already, and that doesn't include the initiation fee. But this optimized membership somehow found a way to make that the cheap option. This has biannual biomarker evaluations, which includes more than 100 different lab tests, a personal trainer, and a team of other experts that are there to help you reach the ultimate goal of getting 100 good years on this planet. But listen, EQUINOX isn't actually even the craziest of this new phenomenon, and behind this new wave of luxury health and fitness is some very disturbing truths about where we are going as a culture. So let's break it down. Today's video is sponsored by Henson Shave. So I had the privilege of not knowing anything about luxury gyms until we made our video about luxury grocery stores a while back. Once you put those two phenomena side by side, you start to see a bit of a pattern. We have the enshittification of so many things happening in our world right now, and then at the same time, paywalls going up around the nicer things in life. We made a whole video about gyms a few years ago, and this is going to be nothing like that video, because luxury gyms are a completely different thing from Planet Fitness. The only thing that you really need to know from that earlier video that applies here is that gyms are a very strange business model. Here's the thing. Gyms are financially incentivized to have a lot of subscribers and very few actual gym goers. Gyms literally have to build their business model around people not showing up. On average, Planet Fitness gyms have 6,500 members, but they can actually only ever accommodate 300 at once. They literally have to have no-shows in order for their business to function. And then of course they're just famously sketchy when it comes to paying for your membership or trying to cancel, God forbid. But luxury gyms are different in a few key ways because they've already overcharged you in the first place just to be there, so they don't have to do as much of the sketchy stuff. But importantly, what they offer is not really a place to exercise, but a place that is a symbol of social standing and access to a wellness world that the poors simply cannot imagine. Yes, of course, they probably do enjoy a high percentage of memberships that go unused every single month like a normal gym. That's just a bonus. But the point of this kind of gym in particular is so that people can be seen coming and going from one of the most expensive gyms on the planet. And then there is the bonus here that this exclusive health membership will help you live longer and look hotter. These places have become a sort of bleeding edge biohacking laboratory where the ultra wealthy get to try all of these supposedly incredible longevity tools to ensure that they look and feel their best as long as they possibly can. On this LinkedIn post we found, there's this guy who calls the $40,000 membership tier preventative health care. What this really signals is the next frontier in healthcare, a shift from reactive care to aspirational health ownership. What, bro? Ooh, we're getting bad. Here's another crazy one. For decades, the medical system has been built on volume and illness, but today the world's top performing individuals, CEOs, founders, athletes, investors are already paying premium prices for data-driven longevity, biomarkers, performance diagnostics, peptide and recovery protocols, VO2 max and DEXA tracking, biological age analysis. We are going to talk about this dystopian aspect of this whole story a little later in the video because it is so bleak out there, folks. I'm so poor that I don't know what VO2 maxing or delta dexa tracking is. Like, I can make an educated guess on biological age analysis, of course, but like, we gotta Google what rich people are even talking about now. So we are going to talk about, in very literal terms, what Equinox is offering because it is kind of interesting. And then we're gonna slowly get into the weirder stuff as we go along. But first, I want to talk about probably one of my favorite sponsors we've ever had on the channel before, which is Henson Shaving. Before you scroll, you gotta understand, we take pride in not doing a lot of sponsored content on this channel from just mindless consumer products, but Henson is anything but that. Very rarely in my life nowadays do I find a consumer product that I have literally no notes on how it can be improved. In a lot of the shaving world, we see a lot of unnecessary technology making things seem more advanced without actually improving the experience. I feel like razor companies keep adding these new tech like integrated lotion or more blades or whatever without actually improving the quality of the experience. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is a safety razor, a concept that has existed for a really long time, but this one is built by a bunch of aerospace engineers here in Canada. Yes, they're a Canadian company. And the craziest part is that once you own this handle, the blades that you get to replace it, the shaving part that you actually dispose with every single time, is insanely affordable. A pack of Henson razor blades costs $10, and this could probably last you 2 to 3 years depending on how much you shave. I'm genuinely baffled by that price. That is so insanely affordable. And here's the craziest bit. If you use the link in our description with the code Levi Hildebrand, you'll get those for free with the purchase of your razor. Like, this is the most refined and simplistic and functional that a razor can be. Every possible iteration beyond this is technically unnecessary. And so if you do decide to get one for yourself, you will be supporting what we do on this channel and an independent business from Canada trying to do things the right way in a world where companies are mostly trying to do shit the wrong way. So go to hensonshaving.com/Levi Hildebrand and use the code Levi Hildebrand for a free 100 pack of blades with the purchase of a razor. Thank you so much to Henson for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back into it. So there are two major ways that Equinox offers value to its highest paying clients, and this is how that breaks down generally. Number one, their value add is this concept of longevity. These places are promoting wellness to a demographic of people who are so wealthy that they actually don't have any other problems. The only thing that they can't buy is time on this earth, but they're gonna try. To quell the anxieties and fears of aging, the 1% who go to these gyms are given a pretty impressive array of services that are designed to help you live the longest, healthiest, and hottest life possible. I wasn't able to tell specifically which ones of all of these professionals you actually see on a one-to-one basis. I think a portion of them are supposedly just looking over your tests and stuff, but this article says that you're getting 16 hours of one-on-one consultation with the core team per month, which is, admittedly, kind of a solid offering. Like, a lot of that money is just going to actual human labor, which feels kind of weird in the AI timeline that we're on right now. Like, in our current social hellscape, you'd almost expect them, or like you'd basically assume that they would be talking about their AI assistant that's gonna help you reach your fitness goals, right? Weirdly, there is not a lot of AI messaging on their website, and that is actually for a reason, which we're gonna talk about in a minute. Now, don't worry that there is no AI in this package, because it is very data-driven. They're just using different words here. The program centers around a partnership with Function Health, which is basically like a medical test subscription model, providing members with biannual testing of over 100 biomarkers, ranging from hormone balance to metabolic health and organ function. The data they get from these tests is then used to create a personalized blueprint for the member who has paid for all this to create the training and supplement plan that they're supposed to follow, right? And if you go onto their website, you'll see there's no mention of AI really at all, which is surprising. But this is because they came under fire at the beginning of the year for using AI-generated images in their ads featuring Justin Trudeau and Pope Francis. Like, What was the plan there? But these companies are always trying to promote this newness and sort of innovative nature of health that they're offering, right? This other New York-based gym is a, quote, totally integrated platform driven by the power of AI and individual biometrics, ensuring that health is both intentional and quantifiable. So maybe Equinox isn't using the word AI specifically, but they are definitely relying on tech to make their offerings seem more interesting, right? They have an app, of course, and optimized members actually get an Aura ring when they sign up, and then all of that data is then used to build their training regimen. But is this actually going to help you live longer? A doctor interviewed by the New York Times was basically like, yeah, I mean, it's good to do all of this healthy stuff, but they then point out that these biomarkers that they're testing for are apparently garden variety medical tests that you could just get from your doctor, and that it really just depends on who is interpreting that data. Because this is the thing, sure, they have now a whole bunch of data on you as a person, but do they have your medical records to corroborate that information with your history? Do they know how to assess that information properly if there is a real problem? And now, if you're in a country like Canada, like me, you may be realizing once again how good we have it, because we don't have to pay for those tests. But if you're in the US and you don't have health insurance or whatever, those tests are anything but free. So all of these tests are being done through their partner Function Health, which is dystopian in its own way. Like there's something bleak about a subscription model to get medical tests from a private company. I don't know. Maybe that's the Canadian in me coming out. I don't know. And we are going to touch on this a little bit later on. I have a lot more skepticism in this, of course, but the reality is that rich people aren't buying these memberships because they want to get blood tests with their gym membership. They have doctors. They can pay for all of that stuff on their own. The reason why they're there is because other rich people are there. The second big offering that Equinox offers their clients, and I would say it's probably the biggest realistically, is social signaling. So in these big finance hubs like New York and London, these luxury gyms have effectively replaced the golf course as the primary venue for networking. Equinox chairman Harvey Spevek has said this in as many words, and the aesthetic of these places sort of speaks for themselves. Of course, they don't call their gyms, but clubs, of course, and the aesthetic is always like a Mercedes showroom or like the lobby of an expensive condo tower that has absolutely no soul. Because of course, if you're paying $40,000 a year to have access to a particular place, it has to look the part, right? But the money is not for the marble floors. It's for the social signal to the peers that are there, showing that you are a part of a certain class of people. It is a quiet, sweaty way of displaying access. When you are in the optimized tier, you aren't just training, you are paying for the proximity to the other 999 members who can afford the same price tag. It also curates a certain type of rich person too, because we live in a world now where material goods are increasingly accessible. But a high performance body is a status symbol that cannot be bought overnight. It requires both extreme capital and extreme discipline. This is the place where the rich hustlers go, if you know what I'm saying. And this is like old school stuff, right? Country clubs and social clubs and ski resorts and golf courses have been doing versions of this forever, but this is new territory. This $40,000 membership is just the first major milestone in the health is wealth movement, a world where your VO2 max and your hormone profile are a part of your wealth portfolio along with the watch on your wrist. For the 1,000 people that are on that wait list, $40,000 as a gym membership isn't an expense, it's an investment in the only asset that truly matters, your biology. And predictably though, we've seen companies and brands swoop in to capitalize on this new moment. If you saw our Erewhon video, we talked about how they monetize their smoothies multiple different ways by getting other luxury brands to pay for the honor of being tagged as ingredients in their smoothies and getting celebrities to partner on these drinks pro bono because it makes them look good to be associated with the brand. And Equinox is doing that exact same thing with their foothold in this new luxury gym space. We already mentioned the Aura ring that you get with your premium membership, but their latest move is a massive sensorial rebrand in collaboration with Le Labo. It's supposed to provide all the soaps and the lotions for all of the Equinox locations around the world. And the idea is that these two luxury products sort of collaborate together and they sort of reinforce each other's social standing, right? And then people who have a lot of money go there and they're like, oh my God, I love La Labo. I want to smell like a La Labo. So I read like the marketing pitch or whatever, like the article that gets released, and like hold on, we got layers here. So there's an article that comes out in Forbes. Like Forbes got paid to write this article. Surely nobody as a reporter is actually giving a shit about what soap this gym has, right? Is that a real thing? Like, they must believe in this shit, because listen. Members will experience a refreshed sensorial environment that reinforces the sense of community and care at the heart of Equinox. The fragrances, textures, and overall feel of the products will help create a calm and cohesive atmosphere that supports movement, recovery, and personal ritual. These are f***ing soaps, dude. What are we talking? What? Like, you have to have either drank the Kool-Aid yourself so thoroughly that you can just whip this out authentically, or you all understand that you're just spinning the wheel to keep this stupid thing going so that you can make as much money as possible. Like surely nobody actually believes that the fucking soap in the washroom is creating a calm and cohesive atmosphere that supports movement, recovery, and personal ritual. What? Dude, it just smells good. Get over it. Equinox also has a shop where they feature exclusive collaborations with high-performance apparel brands like ASRV and Hero Clark, because of course they do. Why wouldn't they? But you know what almost makes this, what makes me laugh about this, is that even when rich people pay $40,000 for a gym membership, they still have to look at ads. This is the rich person equivalent of paying for Netflix just to have to still watch ads on Netflix.
After you check in, they have a whole gift shop.
But here's the real question that I think we should be asking ourselves, which is, why is this happening? And why is this happening right now? Well, in part, I think this is happening because of a social shift that we've talked about in our Erewhon video. Yes, I know, we've talked about it a lot. You should just go watch it already. And this social shift is that we are just desensitized to crazy shit now, all right? It is kind of that simple. Generations before us that lived through wars or like real poverty lived in a time where something like this would have been so socially deaf, it would have never flown. But today, the Epstein files are out, and the war in the Middle East is on, and rich people having their own luxury gyms is just kind of not that crazy anymore. Like, we just kind of don't care. But there's also been a big shift in where money has shifted over the last little while, because we know that that wealth gap is widening, which means that there's a lot more people that are hard up, but it also means that there is a lot more people that suddenly have a lot of money. These newly wealthy people are interested in different stuff, and so they're looking for ways to spend their money. And so, luxury gyms and luxury supermarkets are widening a marketplace for rich people that has already existed before, but now is accessible to slightly more people. And what these categories represent is something that very rich people have been obsessed with for a very long time, which is living a very long time. So I had the very unfortunate pleasure of reading this article by the New York Times when I was reading for this video, and it's awful, guys. It's really not a fun one. You should avoid it unless you're into being depressed and learning about how the richest dudes in the whole world that control pretty much everything are also dementedly obsessed with figuring out how to live forever. Like in just like the grossest ways possible. Like Peter Thiel and Jeff Bezos and Sam Altman, they're just doing the weirdest stuff, like getting blood transfusions from their kids. So what the big billionaires are trying to do is design a world in which they are vampires sucking the life source out of the rest of us in order to live forever. But what the little millionaires are doing below them is searching for something more vague and sort of ethereal sounding, which is the concept of longevity. You'll see the word longevity in a lot of their marketing, and it's basically just the idea that you can live a longer and better life if you do all of these weird supplements, or, you know, work out in these certain ways, or wear this ring that monitors your internal whatevers, you know. Erewhon is selling some of the weirdest wellness products with zero FDA regulations or, you know, actual purported health benefits, because rich people are so desperate to live longer and look hotter. Like, they are as fragile as we are, they just have more money, and they need to feel like the things that they buy aren't accessible to other people. So all that a company needs to do is say, look, this elixir that you can barely pronounce, it's $135 a bottle, but it may help you live to be 100 years old. And imagine, you could be a succubus to society for a whole 100 years. Isn't that great? Isn't that what you want? Go on out there in your very expensive car that uses a ton of gasoline. Why don't you get your private jet to your island that you love to escape to? Because, you know, the rest of the world's so hard to deal with. You probably need a break from all of the normies out here who make your life possible. You know, probably need to, you know, get a little bit of rest after that, you know, Pilates class you had with your $40,000 gym membership. But I'm not bitter. I'm not, I'm just riffing at this point. But here's the good news, y'all. We're all gonna die. And there's not a single thing that they can do about it. That was kind of a messed up ending, but if you made it all the way to the end, I want to thank you for watching today's video. And if you want a slightly less bleak look at some of the subject matters that we talk about on this channel, because sometimes we have to package things in that way to get views, check out our Discord. We hang out over there, we chat about the things that are going on, and we get into a little bit more nuance. Thank you so much for watching. If you're subscribed, we will see you next week for another episode. There's my kid. Love you, bye.